Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome back to another Company Heroes 2 replay cast, and today it is a 1 vs 1 on Angoville. And before we get started with this replay and check out the players, I have a quick announcement. I have something very special for you guys, and that is that I have 19 keys for the British Forces to check them out a little bit early. And when you use one of these keys, you can check out the British Forces from, I believe it's August 30th or 31st to September 2nd. And so what I'm going to have you guys do is, if you have not already pre-ordered the British Forces, to put your email down in the comments, and I will select 19 people at random, and I will send you a key. And what you do with this key is you just input it into Steam, and then on the 30th or 31st, one of the two, you can play the British Forces. Now, if you have already ordered the British Forces, you already have early access to the British Forces. You can play them on the 31st to the 2nd. And Relic already announced that everybody that has ordered the British Forces pre-ordered can do that on the 31st. However, if you have not, you're not allowed to play the British Forces, so that is why you need a key from me. So just go ahead and put your comments down, and just the best way I can get a hold of you, your email, and I will select people at random again, and I will send those out. So I have about 19 of them. Actually, I didn't really count completely, so yeah, so that's pretty cool. So just leave a comment, yada yada. But let's go ahead and get back on this replay. This is the CoH2.org replay highlight. And again, if you haven't gone to CoH2.org, you probably should. It's a very good website if you like Company of Heroes, and that's probably why you're on this video in the first place. So go check it out. But let's get this started. First off, we have down south our blue U.S. forces, Insane Simon. And up top, we have our red Wehrmacht player, ihitto. And it is Angoville. So we have our 2 victory points on the right side and 1 victory point on the left side, with our munitions on the far left and far right side of the map, and our fuel points on the far right and far left side of the map. So a little bit of a goofy map. You definitely need to hold the right side of this map, as it holds much denser resources than the left side, as it includes a couple victory points as well. And now we have some engineers moving out to the right side with 2 grenadiers queued up, and we have 2 riflemen out for the U.S. forces. One of these riflemen going off to the right side, and we have the rear echelons already going off to the right side as well. So both forces going off to the right side. It's sort of a rare thing. You actually see one of the opponents going left side and one of them going right usually. So they will meet each other on the right side here, and a battle will ensue sooner or later. And we have the first set of grenadiers also moving off to the right side. Should move these grenadiers right here and take this territory point, but it looks like he's going to skip that. Nope, going to take that. And now Pioneers going right up to these rear echelon troops, and here we go. Now, Pioneers getting inside the building for a little bit of cover against these rear echelon troops, but decide to get right out there, use that little skip to get them out up close to these rear echelon troops. Now need to get close with those submachine guns, and going to force those rear echelon troops away a little bit so they can seek some cover and use their longer range superiority against those Pioneers now getting back inside the building now that they see these riflemen here. Going to take a little bit of cover inside there. 2 grenadiers moving down on the U.S. forces here. And we have one of the riflemen went off to the left to capture this territory. A very good idea, because all the action is on the right side, so he's able to capture all the left side by himself now. Rear echelon troops making some tank traps here to use those as cover, but already losing 2 of those troops while making those. And now the Grenadier is going to be pushing right up onto that tank trap. Now the riflemen are behind it taking cover, but the Grenadiers have cover too. Point blank, 2 Grenadiers against these riflemen here. Grenadiers actually losing out on this pretty quickly, and going to have to run these away down to 1 man, and there he goes running away and should make it out of there without losing that squad. Now down to 2 riflemen in this squad. And we have some Pioneers taking the capture point in the front of the base here. So these Grenadiers going to chase away these riflemen and will successfully take the fuel point for now. Rear echelon troops have backed off to the territory point, taking that one as well. Now additional riflemen moving out. The veteran riflemen used that elite rifleman training cooldown, brought out some riflemen for an extra 20. You get a veteran rifleman. Pretty good deal. Sometimes you get a 2 veteran status. And these riflemen here are actually one star, and they're almost completely a 2-star. 2-star already. Very good deal there for the U.S. forces. 3 men in this squad here against these 2 grenadiers. Very bad situation for those riflemen. Gonna have to run away. Riflemen inside this building here trying to hold this sector, but it seems like grenadiers are just going right around that. Not a big deal for them. Pioneers here now taking territory point and now taking the victory point with these grenadiers. So all the action on the right side of the map, and I'm not sure where the riflemen on the left side went. They should have just continued and started taking some of that territory. They could have a big resource advantage now should he have just gone off to the left where it is completely uncontested. We have some riflemen here that were contesting the victory point for a moment, but now going right after these grenadiers here. And now both at 3 in the squad here and point blank range. See how that works out there. But we have some grenadiers here firing on those riflemen as well, so they're going to have to run away before the grenadiers do. A third grenadier here took the victory point. We have a 4th grenadier out in the field, so we have a total of 4 grenadiers versus 4 riflemen here. But the riflemen have slightly better veterancy, so they should do a little bit better than those grenadiers. And now we have some riflemen and rear echelon troops moving over to the left side here, and we have some grenadiers moving over to the left side too at the same time. So both sides taking territory at the same time here. But the U.S. forces did have the advantage early on, but he took those riflemen and brought them over to the right side. Instead of taking all this territory, by now he could have the victory point and munitions and possibly the fuel as well. On the right side here, the riflemen going after these grenadiers, defending this territory point that we're trying to push forward, but seeing these riflemen and now backing off. 1 veterancy grenadiers versus 1 veterancy rifleman here. And I forgot to turn off my French list. Silly me. Look at that. I'm just a silly caster today. Pioneers now moving on these riflemen here, and they are behind this tank trap here, but they're going to run right into these riflemen here. 2-star riflemen against these Pioneers. Riflemen should win out on this, but the Pioneers could have stayed there just for a moment longer and actually done some pretty good damage to these riflemen with that short-range submachine guns that they have. Now, 2 riflemen chasing away these grenadiers, trying to get some extra kills as they run away, but looks like they aren't going to get that and could start taking that territory point away from the Germans as well. Now, fuel point is being taken by the grenadiers on the left side. However, there's some contesting troops moving on over. 2 riflemen moving over there and going to contest that and chase them away. Riflemen taking the territory point right in front of the German base there. And these grenadiers in a little bit of trouble here. 2 riflemen on them and can't really deal with that, so they're going to have to run out of there. An MG is coming out for the Wehrmacht, so they could set that up. If he sets it up in a very good location, could be very, very useful against the U.S. forces here, because they are very susceptible to MGs. However, they do have the ability to launch smoke. Should he buy that grenade upgrade, then that he'll be able to launch smoke, which is very effective against MGs. You can just launch smoke and then get right up to it and then throw a grenade. But it does take a lot of your munitions away. And with U.S. forces, it's sort of a balancing act of munitions. And that you want to have a lot of munitions for BARs and for bazookas and things like that. But then you want to also use your munitions for grenades and smoke grenades against MGs and such. So it's sort of a balancing act. But when you play the U.S. forces, you're always sort of very, very low on munitions. MG is backing up a little bit here. Must have seen these troops. Not sure why he's backing up there. And we have rear echelon troops and riflemen moving forward, trying to push away these grenadiers. But we have additional grenadiers here, and only 3 in this squad. Looks like he didn't reinforce them properly. And now they're going to be moving up to the fence line here for a little bit of cover against these riflemen and rear echelon troops. Rear echelon troops making the tank trap for excellent cover. And these troops are just about to get behind it, but the rear echelon troop is in a little bit of trouble here. If you focus that rear echelon troop, he might be able to actually finish it off and cancel that tank trap. It wouldn't be completed. And there he goes. He's actually running away, and the tank trap is not completed. And now riflemen have taken back the victory point and also taken back the second victory point on the right side as well, leaving the Germans with no victory points whatsoever. So 392 to 494. Riflemen battling out with these grenadiers here, and there also is a battle going on over here. Riflemen battling out with these grenadiers inside that building. They're going to have a hard time with the grenadiers inside that building, and still do not have the grenade upgrade, so can't really deal effectively with these against these grenadiers inside this building here. Can only just shoot, and that's not going to do too good. Pioneers now moving up against these riflemen here, and they need to get very close range with those submachine guns. It can do some pretty good damage, but it looks like they're already taking a little bit too much damage from these riflemen here, these veteran riflemen, and down to 2 in that squad. Gonna have to run away very quickly, losing health at a very rapid rate there. 3 grenadiers here moving on these riflemen, and the MG was set up there as well, so that rifleman is definitely running away. Doesn't want any of that noise. Rifleman also taking the right side munitions point there, and these grenadiers are in a little bit of trouble. Although he doesn't have grenades on his riflemen, he is using Rifle Company, the commander, so he can just equip his riflemen with flamethrowers, which is just as effective as throwing a grenade in the building, I suppose. So there's that. But if you don't have the Rifle Commander, then it sort of is a balancing act between grenades and BARs and such. But when you have Rifle Company, you can just slap some flamethrowers on your riflemen, and that does just as good. Grenadiers now moving forward in this territory point. There's some rear echelon troops here trying to defend These Grenadiers are about half health here, so these rear echelon troops might get a kill here. They did get a kill, and now very low health on those Grenadiers. More Grenadiers moving forward here, and these rear echelon troops are going to be in a little bit of trouble. Americans owning the entire right side of the map there, so the Germans in a little bit of trouble right now, and very low on resources compared to the Americans. As we can see, 47 to 29, and we have 21 to 20. So a bit of a resource advantage for the U.S. forces as of right now. MG here stopping these riflemen here in their tracks. But they both have flamethrowers here. 2 riflemen with flamethrowers burning away on that MG, and he has to pick up and pack house, run away with that MG. Grenadiers now taking the left side munitions point there for a little bit of a resource advantage. But he's still very low on munitions compared to the U.S. forces, so it's not going to do all that much. And our riflemen pushing away the Germans even more here and taking this territory point as well. Also taking the fuel point and the victory point at the same time. However, these riflemen are going to go over here and try and stop those Grenadiers, try and send them on home. And we have a pack out on the field, but a very early pack. Very unnecessarily early pack, as there's really nothing out for the U.S. forces. It's probably just preparing for a Stuart or perhaps a utility car that is usually very early for the U.S. forces, but that is a quite early pack indeed. Now running away with these Grenadiers here, chasing them with these U.S. forces here, and the captain, and almost getting out of there, and doesn't suffer any more losses there. Pioneers now moving out, going to start taking back some of this territory. Half track is now moving forward and can start reinforcing his troops on the fly with that half track, although most of his forces are spread out pretty thin. He's going to move that half track up just a little bit, park it here, and just run his forces back to that and reinforce with it. Riflemen here guarding this and taking this territory point, forcing away these Grenadiers. Now a very long-range battle going on between these riflemen. These riflemen don't have as good as cover. They got to get behind this plane wing there for a little bit better cover. Now multiple riflemen here, or Grenadiers rather, with 2-star veterancy. So pretty good Grenadiers here moving forward. And going to battle it out with these riflemen. The only problem I see that when you put a flamethrower on riflemen is it forces the rifleman group to move forward to get that short range of the flamethrower. And when you move forward with your riflemen, you lose the long-range advantage that riflemen have in the first place. And so when you're running forward, you actually suffer losses on the way and suffer damage on the way to get close to the troops. However, in a situation like this, where you can just go around a corner and your enemy appears right around a corner, then it's very good. But in a very long-range situation, it actually is sort of detrimental. Pioneers now running away from this 2-star veteran group. A very good idea. And taking the victory point back from the Germans. And the Wehrmacht trying to take the left side victory point here, but having a little hard time. And the half track is moving forward, going to try and reinforce this Grenadier group right here. And looks like he's not reinforcing just yet, but he should sooner or later, or at least optimally he would. Grenadier is now going to battle it out with these riflemen here right across the plane ring, and both sides suffering losses as there's another rifleman group moving forward with a flamethrower. And see, these Grenadiers were preoccupied with these riflemen here, so this flamethrower could move right up on them. Now the half track going to back up just a little bit here. Doesn't want to get hit by an anti-tank rifle grenade and suffered engine damage. And pushing forward, back and forth with that machine gun there and taking out quite a bit of those forces. Now going to battle it out with these riflemen here, just 2 in this squad. And it is neutralized now, this territory point, so the Germans can take that pretty easily up top here. Riflemen taking back some of the territory right in front of the Wehrmacht base once again. Now the engine has been damaged on that half track. Got hit by an anti-tank rifle grenade, more than likely from this group here. And now the engine is damaged. Going to have to repair that up, although it can still reinforce troops. And these troops here were reinforcing. You can see that reinforce button there, but it did not complete as they walked away from that half track a little bit too early. Captain now moving forward here and going to meet with these Grenadiers. And there's some rear echelon troops to back up this captain a little bit, so there's quite a bit of firepower on these Grenadiers. They're going to have to back up and run away from that situation. Now some Grenadiers are going to come over here and try and flank that side there and stop those, stop that captain push there. Grenadiers trying to hold out behind this slight cover here, and now moving forward right onto these Grenadiers at point-blank range, but not such a good idea as there's only 2 bazooka men left in that captain squad, and bazooka's not so good against troops, and he may actually lose his captain on the way if he is unlucky, but no, looks like he will save it. And no, gets away. That machine gun almost took it out, but not quite. And rifleman backing up here. The half track now has that flamethrower upgrade. Oh, it takes a hit from that 57 right point blank in the side armor and loses that to a anti-tank rifle grenade and the 57 hit. And now the Grenadiers running away here, so he lost his half track very unnecessarily. did not notice that 57 that was brought up. Now the veteran riflemen forcing away some of these troops here. However, there's some pioneers right behind them in chase, just firing right into the back of them. Somehow missing, who knows how, but just chasing them and doing some pretty big damage to this rifleman squad. About half health now, and he's trying to take out this MG squad. Just needs to go ahead and retreat that. Now going to turn around right on these pioneers here. Pioneers need to stop for a moment to get some better accuracy and stability on their guns, but loses too many pioneers and has to run away as well. So only took one of those men out. Grenadiers now trying to take the right side back. And these riflemen here moving on into the center and also taking this center territory point as well. So the Wehrmacht very, very low on resources still, even at 13 points, 13 minutes into the game. At 6-4 and 47-29. So the U.S. forces has such an incredible advantage so far on the Wehrmacht. He's going to have to do a lot of work to catch up. He's going to have to take virtually the entire map. The Wehrmacht right now own almost nothing. They only own this, and this is soon to be taken by the U.S. forces. So they basically own only one territory point on the entire map. Very, very not good. Grenadiers now taking this second territory point, and some pioneers probably going to stand on this territory point to take that, and at the same time the victory point, 392 to 309. The Germans had an advantage at the start of the game, but now starting to wear away. Now some LMGs on his Grenadiers. There are 2 LMGs on his 4 Grenadiers, or 5 Grenadiers rather. So 2 out of 5, not too bad. Riflemen now moving forward on these Grenadiers here, forcing them away, and now forcing away the whole group here with those flamethrowers. The flamethrowers turning out to be so good on this map.
The enemy is taking our territory.
And now Grenadiers moving down to the left side here, trying to force away some of the U.S. forces and take back some of this territory. And also taking back some of the German territory on the right side once again. And it seems like all the Germans' troops are just not spread out enough, and simply just not effective against these riflemen here, as riflemen are just very, very good troops, especially with Rifle Company. They just turn out to be so much better as they start off with veterancy. Now taking back the left side victory point here and taking some territory up top. They did take that territory point, not bothering to take this territory point, and now chasing away these pioneers here. They almost had these teller mines created, but not quite. They're about halfway built. And now this MG is battling out with these riflemen here and uses a sprint and gonna run forward there. Uses that and these riflemen here are totally pinned here, and they gotta get out of there. And now moving forward once again here, and just retreated right back to the major there. A very, very short retreat distance. And Pack firing on these troops, not doing such a good job of that. Looks like a bazooka has fallen on the ground there, and looks like these riflemen are going to run back and pick that up, and successfully pick that up. Grenadiers successfully taking the left side here by the looks of it, and these Grenadiers here will take the left side munitions. Now 3 LMGs on a total of 5 Grenadiers, so if he can get some more LMGs going, he'll have quite a bit of firepower against the U.S. forces. Now a Sherman is out in the field, needs to move that pack up. Indeed, already on that, moving that pack up and trying to get to that Sherman Easy 8 there. And the pack is almost in position to fire, but he will most likely move this Sherman out before he gets hit. And if he does get hit, he will only get struck once before he moves it out. His second pack is out on the field, so 2 packs. Very dangerous situation for that Sherman there. And he's got to really watch out, because if he gets struck by 2 packs at once, he'll probably be down to about half health. These riflemen here trying to battle it out with these 2 Grenadiers, and unsuccessful in that. However, a huge U.S. force moving up here, and 3 riflemen, all with flamethrowers, moving up. Just stuck flamethrowers on every single one of his riflemen. It is a pretty good combination just to have flamethrowers on all of your riflemen. But again, in a long-range situation, if you can have some, especially some Panzer Fusiliers or something like that, very long-range troops, you can do some pretty big damage to them before they actually even make it to you. But again, around a corner or something like that where you surprise your enemy, then the flamethrowers are very, very good. These 2 Grenadiers here were trying to capture this territory, but are in a bit of trouble here. Loses those 2 Grenadiers there. Loss of another squad of Grenadiers there. A big loss for the Wehrmacht there. Doesn't really want to lose those. But he still has his 5 Grenadiers, and 3 of them with LMGs here. And MG in a little bit of trouble here, getting hit by the flamethrower. However, this squad is suppressed, so it is firing a little bit slower, and now it's going to get back out of there. Riflemen now moving up on these 2 packs here. Got to watch out that. And the Sherman is flanking these packs here, and they don't have enough time to set up and fire on that Sherman. And Panzerfaust hits that Sherman there, and now an airstrike is coming down here, and it looks like a phosphorus barrage going to be falling.
Destroyed an anti-tank gun.
But nope. Not a phosphorus barrage at all. And these two grenadiers here are going to fire another Panzerfaust at that Sherman there. And going to have to back out of there.
We lost an infantry unit.
Sherman beat out all these troops here. 2 packs now available on the map here. And if the U.S. forces could get up there and take both of these packs, that would be a big loss for the Wehrmacht. However, there is a bunker right here that would slow his troops down, so he cannot do that as he would get suppressed instantly. So the Sherman is trying to destroy these 2 pack guns, and if he can destroy both of them, that'll be a really major loss for the Wehrmacht there, because that's a total of, what, 640 manpower with no real benefit from it. He never really even hit any armor with them, and 2 packs now lost. A slap in the face from the U.S. forces here. And now these grenadiers here taking the victory point back and also taking the fuel point at the same time. So starting to take back some of the right side there, starting to get back a little bit of resources. Repaired up his Sherman there, repaired the damage on it, and now get it back out of there. And successfully backs out. And riflemen have taken the left side munitions point. Lots of troops moving up on these grenadiers here. Looks like anti-tank, or excuse me, a rifle grenade actually landed right here just as those riflemen moved forward and took out about 4 of them. So it was a very excellent rifle grenade on those. Even though he has to run away, he cost his opponent quite a bit in manpower to replace those 4 simply just by using a rifle grenade. Now taking back some of the territory on the right side for the U.S. forces, and some of the Germans now moving back to the left here, taking back some of the territory points, and riflemen moving forward on these Pioneers. So it's going to be flamethrower versus flamethrower here. And I don't think the Pioneers are going to last too long against that. And now the Sherman getting hit by that pack there, takes a hit right to the frontal armor, takes a decent chunk of its health away, and hits it again, but it looked like a deflection, and did not lose any health on that one. Now down to only 4 grenadiers. Lost another grenadier squad along the way somewhere. So very low on forces for our Wehrmacht player. Just has such little resources this map. He's very, very starved the entire time. These riflemen here taking the victory point and taking the fuel point at the same time on the right. So they will be back to a very large advantage. So 36 to 22 to 32 to 20. So far the Wehrmacht actually has a little bit more munitions, but I don't think that's going to last too long. Grenadiers trying to take the territory point here. Sherman moving up once again. These Grenadiers in a little bit of trouble. 2 Shermans now moving across the map. Not enough packs out on the field. Just as 1 pack is unable and insufficient to take care of 2 Shermans at the same time here. Another barrage coming down, and it looks like the Major is using the barrage. I believe that's the Major's barrage. Nope, that is a phosphorus barrage that time. Oh geez, I'm just way off this game, huh? And 2 Grenadiers now running back to base here in trouble. And 2 more shots going to come out of these Shermans here. And he's going to try and set up that AT, and he's going to fire again. Can he fire again? He's going to have to fire on this one. Hits it dead on there, puts the crew back in, and may lose this Sherman here. It may fire one more time there and loses that Sherman. Gets hit by a Panzerfaust from the back end of those Grenadiers there. And I don't think that was very necessary exactly. I think the pack would have fired on it before it got out of there, but that's okay. Either way, he got it. And now running away here, this Sherman in a little bit of trouble here. And this Grenadier looks like the Panzerfaust is up again, but he does not have the munitions to fire again. And another pack is set up over here. This pack was decrewed, and the pack is firing it. Can it fire again? If it can fire again, it will destroy that Sherman Easy 8. 2 Shermans down now. And lots of losses of riflemen, down to only 3 riflemen for the U.S. forces. Also missing a lot of the riflemen deaths as well. So everything's just happening so quickly, and forces are just being lost so quick. It's hard to even capture all of the action. Now 4 Grenadiers remaining for the Wehrmacht player, and all 4 of them have LMGs, so huge firepower on these Grenadiers, and that's definitely what you need against U.S. forces, especially if they just sport all these flamethrowers here. It means they have to get up pretty close to fire them on you, and when you have LMGs, especially 4 of them going at once or 3 firing at once, you do huge damage to them before they can even make it to you. So that is definitely a very good, sort of a good counter. Not necessarily a hard counter, but a decent counter against flamethrower riflemen. And now moving this pack forward here, and needs to recrew this pack, and it looks like he's doing that just now with these grenadiers here. Going to be left with one grenadier after this, and he's going to run him home and reinforce that grenadier group. Now grenadiers moving over to the right side here, need to take this fuel point here, or victory point rather, and 3 stars on that grenadier, so pretty good grenadier squad there. And riflemen have a lot of 3 stars as well. However, riflemen basically need 3 stars to be very particularly effective, as they typically veteran up pretty quickly, as a lot of players use Rifle Company, and I also see a lot of players using 10% veterancy increase to riflemen with their intel bulletins. And if you can actually get a hold of 3 of those intel bulletins for the U.S. forces, so if you had 3 increase of veterancy by 10% for the U.S. forces, that would be absolutely amazing with Rifle Company, because you would start off with 1 veterancy, sometimes 2 if you're lucky, and then you would get to 2, 3 veterancy so quick. By 10 minutes into the game, you could have probably multiple riflemen at 2 and 3 star veterancy. It would be very, very good. Major now moving forward, and he was going to try and capture some territory, I guess, but going to have to get out of there, as the Major's not a very effective unit in terms of fighting. And now we have the LMG and HMG firing on this house here with the Major inside. Needs to just retreat that Major. He's in a little bit of trouble here. Could actually use a rifle grenade and hit them, but it was a little bit too late there. And you can actually fire rifle grenades into buildings, and it is fairly effective. Not as effective, obviously, outside of a building, but it does work. And gonna get that Grenadier out of there. Such low health that I'm surprised. Oh, the Major actually finishes it off. What a rare situation that was. And he just had such little health that the Major actually finished him off. And that was a big loss for the Wehrmacht, because it only has 4 Grenadiers out on the field. And that was a 3-star Grenadier, I do believe. Either that was a 2-star, it might have been a 3. And so that's a big loss there when you lose a 3 or 2-star veterancy troop. It takes a while to get that back. Not so much for the U.S. forces, again, with that Rifle Company, but with any other military, it is.
Squad, get ready.
Rifleman now sporting inside this house here. However, there's a flamethrower right there. So both sides just going to launch flame at each other from the house and into the house there. And Pioneer so far taking the heat, but the Riflemen not so much. Now the Grenadiers and HMG and the Grenadiers taking the left side there. And these riflemen had to get outside of the house. They were just taking a little bit too much fire. And they get back inside the house, not really sure why. Down to 1 man there. And he knew that there was a flamethrower right there, but he decided to get back in the house anyway. Lost a 3-star rifleman. A big loss for the U.S. forces there. And now moving out. Almost set that house completely on fire there. And these riflemen forcing away these Grenadiers from the front of their base. And we have an anti-infantry strafe moving through there, although I don't really agree with that strafe. Not really sure why, just because it only got 1 troop there, 1 soldier, and it wasn't very efficient. But whatever. I suppose if you have the extra munitions, why not? And veteran rifleman here, 3-star, taking back the territory point. But we have some Germans moving in, and we just have some basic Grenadiers here. No veterancy whatsoever, fresh on the field, bunch of newbies. Yeah, but they do have an LMG at the very least, and firing on this rifleman squad here and doing some pretty big damage. They decided to run away instead of fighting it out with those Grenadiers there and losing some troops in that process. HMG now moving forward with that flamethrower Pioneer squad. A 3-star Pioneer did take out that Rifleman squad there, so they are definitely full of themselves. They have their Iron Cross, and they are moving out. Fuel point being taken by these Grenadiers. However, looks like by the sounds of it, a 75 pack howitzer firing on these troops here, trying to get them. And sooner or later, they may get a good shot there. There was a decent one, but it did not destroy any of the troops there. It did take some of the health away. And now firing over this way here at these Pioneers. Pioneers now firing into the house here where the captain is. And the captain's in a little bit of trouble. He'll have to get out of there sooner or later here. Now down to 2 men in that squad. Another Sherman EZ-8 moving forward to 57 out on the field. We have an anti-tank strafe now moving forward and didn't get too much done on that one. Only killed 1 man in that squad, and they're just dragging his body with the 57 there. They don't care. In war, you gotta do what you gotta do. And multiple Grenadiers now moving forward, and 2 packs here. Sherman's got to watch out here. Gonna get double shot by these packs, but gets out of there just in time. The pack hits the wall there. And Grenadiers are moving forward now, taking out the territory point and the victory point from the U.S. forces. And there is a anti-tank gun here, and he actually destroys that pack howitzer with these 2 packs here. Now aiming at the anti-tank gun with the packs. Now going to back up these packs here, and doesn't want to lose those. Anti-tank strafe, or anti-infantry strafe, moving forward there, and only got some of those troops there, but they just retreat right to that major anyway, so another very ineffective anti-infantry strafe. MG trying to get out of there, and Sherman may fire once more, and takes out 2 more troops there. And 2 packs trying to back up to the base to reinforce those, to get 4 men back in that squad. And Major now moving out with that speed upgrade from the 2-star veterancy of a officer there. And the bunker is set up here to hold off this Major here from taking this victory point. However, the Sherman EZ-8 just moving up to that bunker will take out this bunker in probably 3 or 4 shots. And already working on it, and the packs are nowhere near available to defend that, and the major here is still pinned to the ground and unable to start capturing this victory point until he is no longer pinned. There goes 3 shots, took that out. It might have been 4, but either way, 3 or 4 shots takes out a bunker from a tank. And now the veteran rifleman taking back the territory point. Left side entirely owned by the Wehrmacht now. So the Wehrmacht turning this game around. Captain tried to take some of this territory, but there is an MG set up in a pretty clever spot there. It takes up so much of that room. You have to really basically go all the way around that to avoid that MG there. And Grenadiers now moving out again and going to retake this victory point. It was only neutralized by the U.S. forces, so a very easy retake for the Germans there. MG42 has been set up in this building here. Going to start firing on these riflemen here if it has the sight to do so, but these hedges here may have been actually blocking that. Now the Grenadiers going to have to run back to base here. Grenadiers taking some damage here, maybe get shot by that Sherman EZ-8, but doesn't suffer any losses. Captain trying to get up to this MG here, but it is now completely pinned and going to be forced to run away. And he's taking losses there, and now runs away with 2 men left in that squad. Pioneers putting teller mines here, a pretty clever spot to put teller mines right up front here, and then lure that Sherman EZ-8 over to this side, and hopefully it hits those. And if the Sherman hits those teller mines, it will be down to about a quarter health, or about half health, and its engine will be severely damaged. MG42 needs to pack up and run back to base now. Is under attack from that Sherman EZ-8. Sherman EZ-8 will probably chase it a little bit there, but got to watch out for these 2 pack guns too. Anti-infantry strafe moving on in there, attacking some of those troops, but just caused the retreat of a couple riflemen there. I'm now going to pick up that US-57, and I'm going to run off with that and use it against them, against those Sherman EZ-8s. And Pack's now moving forward a little bit here, going to try and get the squeeze in on that Sherman, and need some troops up to be scouting it out and seeing what's going on exactly. Now that Sherman is moving up, going to Kool-Aid man right through that wall. Oh yeah, it was kind of a slow, very mild Kool-Aid man, huh? But it was. Major now taking the left side victory point here all alone. Nobody's really bothering him, and the captain at the same time. So this is Officer Central here taking the territory point and the victory point at the same time there. And now the 57 is taking this munitions point just by simply being there. They're like, oh, I don't know what's going on. We're just taking this. We're not really trying too hard, but there it goes. Grenadiers taking the fuel point, and some riflemen now moving forward. They did take the frontal section here. Need to take that back as well. That would be a very easily taken territory. MG in a little bit of trouble here, firing on these riflemen here, but not firing on these riflemen with the flamethrower. So they're going to have to pack up and get out of there. Going to run out the back side of the house and run away. And now over here, a fight ensuing. We have some Grenadiers and MG42 moving forward here. And going to try and take back and defend this sector once again from the U.S. forces. And Sherman now moving forward here. Got to watch out for this 57. He's bringing up that 57 now. And 3 riflemen, though, are moving forward, so got to watch out for that 57 there. And he's just going to back it up as far as possible here. He did see all these troops here, so he doesn't really want to give himself away. He needs to hide back here, and hiding away from these troops here. He's trying to hide it behind that cover. They're pretty clever, pretty slick, and he knows that these riflemen are here. So if he fires on that Sherman, he will definitely lose that 57 right back to the U.S. forces. And here comes that Sherman sneaking along, looking for something, looking for trouble here. And Grenadiers taking the territory point And only one territory point left on the left side there. And the Sherman moving forward, trying to find some hidden forces here. Maybe he knew that 57 was up there, and now he's wondering where it went to.
Grenadier squad at full strength.
U.S. forces does have both victory points on the right side, so the Germans' points are going down 203 to 178. MG firing on these rear echelon troops here, but probably not going to pin them. They are going to get around that side fast enough. And 57 is in trouble. He pulled out that 57 and lost it, and didn't even get the chance to fire on that Sherman there. And now we have Grenadiers moving forward. Two packs also moving forward. One of them got a hit on it, but the other one was a little bit too far behind and did not get the opportunity to fire again. Should pick up this 57 again. Why not? And now the Grenadiers here inside this building here with 3 stars battling it out against those riflemen there. There's only 2-star riflemen. They do now have a flamethrower, so those Grenadiers are now in trouble. And looks like the Sherman took another hit there, now down to about half health. Packs now need to back up and seek cover a little bit there. Don't want these riflemen getting up close to that, as they'll just burn it away very quickly. MG is sitting up behind this victory point here to ensure that he holds that for as long as possible. Victory point now taken by the Germans as well, so 2 for the Germans. Now going to turn the score around once again. 3 riflemen inside this building here. They have a flamethrower, and an anti-tank rifle grenade hits that house there, but doesn't do anything to the troops inside. As I said, you can use anti-tank rifle grenades on a house, but it doesn't do too much. Sometimes it does, but I suppose if you have the extra munitions, why not just go ahead and do it. Pack is set up again and did not get another hit. It's still at the same amount of health, about half health there, and backed up that Sherman. Probably will decrew that and repair it up. A minefield has been set up on that victory point there. Anti-tank infantry, or anti-infantry strafe. I can't really talk today. Pinning these troops here, and we have a pack set up here at this angle and a pack set up here at this angle. So any angle this Sherman goes through in this sector here is going to get struck by a pack there. Now backing up that at the wrong time there. Could have got a shot on just now. Could have got that shot. And now bringing it forward again and backing up the Sherman again. So we'll probably get a shot here, and we'll hit the frontal armor. Should do some decent damage to that, but no, backs it up again. And we have some captain here taking the territory point back from the Germans on that side there. MG42 was picked up by that rifleman squad there and running around with that coveted MG42 light machine gun. Why not? Good stuff. Now Panzer IV is out on the field for the Wehrmacht player now, and 2 packs here. So this Sherman is actually kind of in big trouble if that Sherman gets caught out between these 2 packs here, and that pack is not in the best position there. And now backing those up again against those riflemen, and the medium tank here battling out with these riflemen here, and the rifleman could use an anti-tank grenade on it. Takes a shot from that Sherman Easy-8 in the side armor there, and now the Sherman takes a side armor hit from that pack at the same time. So an eye for an eye there, and 2 shots from those packs missed that Sherman. That Sherman was lucky that he moved out there. 2 shots would have done huge damage to that Sherman, and now gonna have to back that Sherman out and go somewhere else with it, as there's way too much danger here for it. Could go over to the left side there and work on that. These riflemen here getting shot at by the Panzer IV there, and he could actually lose the squad in an unlucky hit here. Could be any hit. And now running away, may get back to base there indeed. And so we have some troops on the left side here pinned by an anti-infantry strafe there, and now totally pinned, and these pioneers getting huge hits, and flamethrower hits right on that. The MG42 is set up here, and with the Sherman now backing off along with the riflemen. Now the pack's moving over to the left side, but at the same time the Sherman is moving back to the right now. Decrewed it and is now going to be repairing the Sherman, and if the Wehrmacht sees this, it could be bad for the U.S. forces here, and moving right up on it. There it goes, and he's got to see that now, and the pack is about ready to fire, and fires, takes a shot from that Panzer and that pack at the same time by the looks of it, and did a decent chunk of damage to it. That's about 3/4 total health now. Grenadiers in a little bit of trouble on this victory point here. 2 men left in that squad and lots of damage on him. May lose that Grenadier squad. Needs to get out of there as soon as possible. And down to a sliver of health and not going to get out of there. Dropped its MG42 for the U.S. forces once again. Captain looks like it's going to pick that up, and now has 2 bazookas. No, or just one bazooka. It must have lost that bazooka at some point, but it has an LMG-42 now and a bazooka. So a very interesting captain squad there. Now, Grenadiers moving down to the right side again. A new squad of Grenadiers is called out into the field. A second squad of Grenadiers is being called out as well. So he will have a total of 3 Grenadier squads on the field. 2 HMGs are out on the field for the Wehrmacht as well. One over here and one in this building. One a 1-star, one a 3-star. And now these regiments here moving up again. Going to get shot at by this Panzer IV here. And could take an unlucky hit and lose some troops there, but nope, not going to happen. And the Sherman Easy 8 fires, does a small sliver of damage to that Panzer IV. As the Panzer IV and the Sherman Easy 8, a pretty good match for each other. Riflemen taking the right side munitions point, and they definitely need to start taking some territory quick because it is now 63 to 32 and 21 to 20. Panzerfaust looks like it hit that Sherman there, but did not do any engine damage to it, so very unlucky for the Wehrmacht there. But he has plenty of munitions to be using on these Shermans here. Now a second Sherman out. This is the second Sherman here. This is the previous one. 27 total kills on that Sherman Easy 8, a 2-star veteran Sherman. These Grenadiers moving up on these riflemen here and takes one of them out. That MG42 has been dropped again. Could pick that up, but he has to run away these troops. So that is a problem. And could run over there. Oh, loses another Grenadier there. Very unfortunate for the Wehrmacht. Just losing so many Grenadiers, and a lot of riflemen have been destroyed as well. Now 2 LMGs on this 1 3-star squad. That's going to be a pretty deadly squad there. Lots of very condensed firepower. Panzer IV now moving up on these Shermans here. And nope, not going to see each other. He's just moving along. And Pioneers trying to make a teller mine there. And good thing they did not complete that because the bazooka hit right on it. And should they have completed that, it would have blown up in their face. And that would have been very bad for the Pioneers, particularly for their faces. Captain now taking the territory point here. And Captain now not taking the territory point. He decided to go somewhere else. Sherman's now moving forward here. One is almost repaired and will be back in action. The MG42 has been totally flanked now. The captain has gotten around the arc of fire and now has to pick that up, and will either have to run away with it or reset up again. And is indeed going to reset up again. However, there's a Sherman coming and needs to just pick it up. Would have been better off just running away and pinned that captain at the very least. And we have the Panzer IV now moving up, distracting that Sherman from destroying that MG42 there, but these riflemen are on it. And an anti-infantry strafe is moving along through this sector here. And here we go, pinning all these troops here. And those 2 packs are still out on the field, but still not really doing too much with those packs. He just had very unlucky pack play so far. Both tanks firing at this one pack here, and pack's just about to fire and hits that tank dead on. Now almost going to lose this tank here. 2 packs hit it, and the Sherman Easy 8 hit it at the same time, and down to a small sliver of health left on that Sherman there, and that's going to be out of action for quite a while he's repairing that grenade. Grenadiers now moving forward here. And I'm going to start defending this area here from these riflemen, trying to decrew these packs. And they definitely want to decrew those packs, as they're a very big danger to these Shermans. Both of the Shermans are being repaired right here. If only the Wehrmacht knew, he could just bring his packs and his Panzer right up here and do big damage to these while they're just being repaired. The U.S. forces would have to hop in there and just start backing up immediately. It would not be good for him. Riflemen now moving forward here and may take the victory point, or looks like they may crew that. Nope, not going to crew that. Looks like they're going to take this territory point up here. Nope, now going to the victory point. They are juking me out. They knew that somebody was going to be casting this, and he was probably just like, I'm going to juke the caster who was casting this game, and I'm just going to run my forces all over the place in a very arbitrary and random manner. Panzer IV is moving up and may see this. It looks like it's just out of reach. It's probably just out of sight range. Cannot see it. Rifleman now taking the victory point back. So he'll have 2 victory points because he is only down to 32 points. So it's 32 to 169. So the U.S. forces in a little bit of trouble here, but going to turn the game around by taking this victory point back. However, the Germans are on their way to take that back. And this is the 2 LMG squad. Look at the dual LMGs on that squad. That is one mean squad. That's sort of like carrying dually pistols. It just makes you look straight up awesome, and that was a lot of firepower coming out of there. And 2 Panzer IVs are out on the map for the Wehrmacht now. and pushing forward here. And now the Sherman Easy 8 moving up and against two Grenadiers here, and the two Panzer IVs going to be moving forward. These two Grenadiers trying to move forward here and get a Panzerfaust, but not really going to happen. These Grenadiers are going to have to run away sooner or later here, going to get hit by another tank shot, and that's not going to be too good for them. And they are getting dangerously close to these Shermans here, and that Grenadier there took some losses, and down to one. That Grenadier was completely lost. Two MG42s are on the ground now. And these two Shermans in a little bit of trouble here, taking a little bit too much damage. Both of them less than half health, and need to get back out of there. Anti-tank strafe does some damage to that Sherman there. Loses a Panzer IV unnecessarily. Should have just backed it out of there. And the pack is set up there. And will he get the kill? Can he get the kill? No, he's not going to be able to get the kill. But maybe with this pack here, if he can switch up this pack. But there's some smoke here blocking his vision. And now the packs are in a little bit of trouble here. Two LMGs are on the ground here. Needs to get his troops over there as soon as possible and pick those up. That is a total of 120 munitions worth of firepower. And we have a Stuka barrage coming in here. We'll see where it's going to land. And lands right on that pack there. Decrews it again. And takes out the front end of that house at the same time. And I would really like to see the Grenadiers come back to that and pick that up. As he could pick it up with this crew here, and he would have two LMGs on both of these squads. That would be pretty dense firepower. But he needs to get up there. Looks like these riflemen are going to get there first. And these riflemen don't have any equipment already on them, so he will pick up both of these. So there is one, and still hasn't picked up the other one. Is probably distracted right now. The Sherman Easy 8 in a little bit of trouble here. Down to very low health, and he did pick up that second MG, so now it is a dual LMG rifleman squad, so that is pretty interesting. Captain now moving off to the left here, going to try and assist in taking and holding this victory point here. And it looks like an anti-infantry strafe is moving across here and does some damage to that captain. May lose that captain, loses the captain there. Sherman Easy 8 takes a shot from that pack and now trying to back up. Oh, another shot, but it deflects the armor. So lucky there. And let's see if a Panzerfaust can do it. Panzerfaust hits it, but cannot do it. Second Panzerfaust destroys that Sherman Easy 8. And now just one Easy 8 left on the field. Sherman Easy 8 now moving forward here. Got to watch out. There is a pack, and these two Grenadiers are very Panzerfaust hungry.
Enemy is attempting to steal our
And that
sector.
pack will not be able to fire on that Sherman. Just going to have to back it up before he decrews that. We have the Rifleman squad here taking back the right side victory points. Down to 2 points for the U.S. forces there. Just 2 points to 159. U.S. forces in big trouble here. If he loses any victory point, if he loses a victory point now and the Germans say the Germans take this one and hold this one, he will lose in one tick, as it will lose 2 points at a time there. So he will lose virtually instantly upon the Germans capturing this victory point. However, we have riflemen now moving over to the left side victory point, desperately taking these victory points as fast as possible. And on the right side here, they did chase away these riflemen here. I'm not sure. Actually, they were completely destroyed there. Perhaps they ran over some mines at the same time, but they did get destroyed by the Panzer IV and these troops here. So now taking the victory point, and these Grenadiers need to run to this victory point here, not bothering with the fuel point. Screw the fuel point. Just needs to just go right up to this victory point. He could win the game right now if he would just move right over here and take that. Instead, we have some riflemen and Sherman Easy 8s now moving over to the victory point. So a very close game indeed so far. And the U.S. forces did take the pack on the left side there, and now some riflemen here defending. And this Grenadier has to run away. Did neutralize that fuel point, but that was it. And now Panzer IV moving up here to defend. Did take out that Grenadier there. And Panzer IV versus the Sherman Easy 8. So far, the Panzer IV definitely losing that battle. And we have the Grenadier, MG42 defending this victory point, and two Grenadiers were moving out, and they were trying to Panzerfaust that Sherman Easy 8, but it's just a little too quick to be Panzerfaust, as it can just back up pretty quickly there at that range. And now the Grenadiers moving forward again, going to Panzerfaust again. He does have it ready, and it's going to hit, and does not damage the engine there. Very unlucky for the Wehrmacht, and this left side still being uncontested. MG42 inside this building here. And needs to get to this victory point badly. Could win the game right now if he could just take this victory point. Easier said than done. Now picking up that 57 again. Going to use that 57 against this Sherman Easy 8 here, along with that Panzer IV. Grenadiers trying to move forward, and they do have that Panzerfaust ready. It's going to hit that Sherman Easy 8. Nope, not going to do any damage really, and not going to damage the engine either. Now setting up that 57, but it was a little bit too late. Not going to be able to fire on that Sherman Easy 8. Another pack is out on the field now, bringing out a second pack here, along with his 57 that he took from the U.S. forces. And going to try and defend here. Now another tank out, coming out for the U.S. forces here. Probably another Sherman Easy 8, or perhaps just a regular Sherman.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
Now these rear echelon troops trying to occupy this area here, but not going to last too long. Panzer IV in a little bit of trouble here. Needs to aim for that Sherman Easy 8 there. And the pack is now up forward here, along with that 57. Where did that 57 go off to? All the way back at base. He's reinforcing that 57. And needs to really get something done here should he want to win this game. So far, the U.S. forces doing a very good job of holding off the Wehrmacht here and holding these 2 victory points. So far, 2 to 100. So now, very low for the Wehrmacht, 99 to 2. And he needs to watch out here. Losing just 1 point at a time here for the Wehrmacht, down to 96. And Sherman Easy 8 moving forward again. And there's the Panzer IV, fires on it. The pack fires at the same time, does some pretty big damage there. A tiny chunk of health, rather. And that forces the back up of that Sherman Easy 8 there, forces it to back off and going to chill back there for the meantime. Now the U.S. forces is holding the left side entirely. We have some riflemen here and some grenadiers moving over to the left side as well. But the right side needs to be a little bit more active here. He needs to really force his way onto that victory point, even if he has to lose a couple of troops. If he can just take this victory point for any period of time, he will win the game. Now the grenadiers out here, and the Sherman Easy 8 moving up on him with these riflemen here, and they're going to have to just run away. They're not going to last too long there, and they are running back to base now, and the Sherman Easy 8 is going to be chasing them and going to try and take them out if he can. And may actually take out this grenadier squad. Take out that grenadier squad again. Main gun on the Panzer IV there was destroyed. Now the Panzer IV is completely destroyed. Got hit by that 57, or no, a Pack 40 there from the Germans. And so far the Wehrmacht just unable to take this last victory point. Just needs to throw everything he's got at it. And now Sherman Easy 8 moving over to the right side here. Gonna flank all these troops from the rear. MG42 now backing out of the building here, so it no longer gets fired at. They're just gonna set up. Probably should have set up on the other side there, or towards this victory point here.
We have lost a squad.
Riflemen in a little bit of trouble there, backing out. Now just one grenadier left on the field, and a pioneer squad, and 2 LMGs, and just 2 anti-tank left for the Wehrmacht. So the Wehrmacht's in a bad situation here. And I don't think the Wehrmacht is going to be able to take this. 2 Sherman Easy 8s, 3 Sherman Easy 8s out on the field for the U.S. forces. And the only thing left for the Wehrmacht is these 2 packs, these 2 MGs, and this grenadier and that pioneer. So in pretty big trouble there. And Sherman Easy 8 now having to back up. It is very low on health. Turning around these pack guns here, backing them up, and going to try and get a shot off on this Sherman here, but they're in trouble as they're now totally flanked and surrounded by tanks. And it takes them too long to move around. And I'm sure right now the Wehrmacht player is in a little bit frustrated as he doesn't really have much choice, doesn't really have much to do here. And I don't think CAS was the best doctrine to use on this map, as he didn't get too much use out of it. Those anti-infantry strafes weren't the greatest. His anti-tank strafes also weren't the greatest, and he really didn't kill anything with his Stuka strike, except for that the one I seen was the decrewing that pack gun there, the 57. And now the Stug is just lost right away there. A GG comes from ihitto. Insane Simon, the winner of the game. And just a very, very close game. So I'd say like nobody really outplayed each other. Just one player had to win in the end. I think. I think what happened really is that the Germans got so far behind in the mid game there when the U.S. forces took all of the territories, virtually all the territories on the map. It just gave them such a huge advantage for the rest of the game. And again, I think CAS wasn't the best choice on this map. Again, I don't believe that CAS is the best choice in 1v1. I think it works a little bit better in 2v2 and higher. That way you have a little bit more density to work with, and when you have more and more density, like even like especially in a 4v4, it's so good because you just have so many opportunities to use CAS just over and over and over again. Then it really comes into play. But in a 1v1, he didn't really have enough density to use it. He had got some troops over here, and he did use that Stuka right here. I believe that's the crater, and it decrewed this gun about right here, where it was a 57 earlier. And he hit some tanks a couple times with the anti-tank strafe. Just didn't do enough damage, really. So, but I hope you guys enjoyed the replay. So it was a really, really good game. It was the CoH2.org replay highlight. And again, just to reiterate from the beginning of the game, leave a comment down below in the comment section, your email or some way you want me to get a hold of you. And if you're lucky enough, I will give you a key. Like I said, I have about 19 of them, and it will get you early free access to the British forces to see if you want to play them or not. And that is only for the people who have not already pre-ordered the British forces. As Relic stated on Facebook, I think it was earlier today, that anybody who pre-ordered the British forces can play them starting August 30th, or it might be the 31st. I can't actually remember. You can easily Google that or check. So if you've pre-ordered it, don't bother. And if you have not pre-ordered it and you're wondering, should I buy the British forces or not, put a comment down below and I will give you a key to try them out. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this replay, and I will see you guys next time.